What's up, everybody? Brett Mix here from my channel, Macho Wrestling 101. Hit like and subscribe if you've been enjoying the reviews that I put out on the Monday Night Wars. This is week 95. We're going to look at today on the WWF side. The ratings for this Raw were a 3.2. And on the same week, Nitro scored a 4.0. So wrestling was hot this week. WCW wins for the 58th week in a row. Nitro won by a total of 0.8 viewers over the WWF. So now after this week's loss, Raw, the total scoreboard has Raw at 17 wins, 76 losses, and 2 draws through the 95 weeks. The show went on live Monday night on the USA Network from the August 18th, 1997, from Atlantic City's Convention Center in Atlantic City, New Jersey. This was the Raw with the 3.2 rating, which has gone up a little bit from their usual high 2s, now in the early 3s. They lost the ratings once again, obviously, but they have definitely improved their audience with a rating above the 3. We first see McMahon introduce one of the all-time greats in Ravishing Rick Rude to open the show. Ross and Lawler on commentary while McMahon is in the middle of the ring. Vince and Rude go over what his price is, and Rude says to get the premium, you have to pay the premium. Rude goes over basics of what he's all about and doesn't answer all the questions, as Jim Ross alludes to. HBK is seen yelling at Commissioner Slaughter backstage, but it's not audible. We know that tonight Triple H and HBK will team up together for the first time, and tonight HBK and Taker will be in the same ring for the first time, in not a Royal Rumble anyway, as I believe they were in Royal Rumble 1992 together, but in a non-Rumble match. We opened it up with the Hart Foundation, Owen and the Bulldog against the LOD, Animal and Hawk. Both these teams were so awesome in 1997, so this should be a good one. Road Warrior Hawk with a neckbreaker to Owen, followed by a clothesline, and then he tried in the other end and ran his shoulder first into the ring post. Davey rams him into the shoulder first into the steps on the outside, so Hawk's shoulder being worked on. I still say Owen and the Bulldog are one of the most underrated tag teams of all time. They had everything you needed in a team. What Owen lacked, Bulldog had. What Bulldog lacked, Owen had. Road Warrior Animal comes in with a hot tag and takes care of both Owen and Davey Boy until he runs into a spinning heel kick. Owen off the top, caught in a power slam. Bulldog breaks up the pin. Godwin's come out and Road Warrior Animal is hit in the head with a slop bucket by Henry Godwin behind the official. Owen covers for the win, and Owen and Davey get the win at 4:57 after the Godwins and LOD start brawling. I give that tag team match between the LOD and the Hart Foundation 2 stars. Moving on, we have HBK backstage complaining about the way he's been treated in a short promo. Sunny comes out to be the ring announcer. She introduces Brian Christopher, but she introduces Flash Funk because they play his music, but it's Brian Christopher first, so she improvises on the spot as they played the wrong music and sent the wrong guy out. In the match, Funk dropkicked Brian Christopher to the outside on the security rail, then a baseball slide into the guardrail some more. Christopher comes back with some offense into a Northern Lights suplex. Brian Christopher was trying to pile drive Funk because the King gets off commentary and tries to tell Christopher to pile drive him. He doesn't, and Funk took advantage and hit a 450 splash off the top after knocking Brian Christopher off the top rope, groin first on the top rope. He fell back into the canvas, and then that's when the 450 splash by Flash Funk was hit. Flash wins at 3:42 as his dad, Lawler, is pissed. Gave it a 1.5 stars for the match. And then talk about the exclusive interview with Austin after SummerSlam 97, how it's going to be later tonight. Taker cuts a short promo backstage talking about Helmsley and Michaels, how they're going to go to hell pretty much. The regular Undertaker promo backstage. Next up, we got Ken Shamrock taking on the Sultan with the Iron Sheik. The Sultan, one of Rikishi's former gimmicks, took it to Shamrock, but he exploded back with a hip toss before the Sultan caught him in the air and dropped him. Shamrock back up, clotheslined him out to the floor. The Sheik on the outside helping the Sultan come back up. He Irish whipped him into the steps. Shamrock came back with a ton of offense in the middle of the ring. A belly-to-belly suplex, and then the Sheik got in, and he suplexed the Iron Sheik before hitting a standing Hurricane Run on the Sultan. Shamrock with an ankle lock wins at 3:16. Half a star. Vince says we're going to Austin's interview, but then the Nation's theme hits, and they take over the exposure. It's going to be a Nation interview, not Austin's interview just quite yet. Fans chant Rocky sucks as Rocky comes out with the Nation for the first time. Farouk then goes off on Savio, Crush, and Ahmed on the mic, and then he gives the mic to The Rock. Rocky Maivia says, I got 3 words for you. Die, Rocky, die. That's the gratitude I get for you pieces of crap. He says he became the youngest IC champion. What does he get? Nothing but disrespect. The DOA then call the Nation to the parking lot as Crush comes on the big screen. The Nation go out there, and the DOA and the Nation get into an all-out brawl. all of a sudden, Triple H gets an interview about his main event tonight, but that's interrupted as the DOA and the Nation were brawling backstage, and the Los Boricuas come by and steal all of the DOA's bikes, and they ride off through the parking lot. Next up, we got Brian Pillman still in a dress until he wins, taking on Jesse James. Jesse James tried to fondle him as a joke, I'm guessing. Then Jesse James lifted up his skirt, so definitely playing around. Pillman then drove his head into the mat. A crossbody attempt doesn't land, and then a tornado DDT. Goldust then elbows Jesse James to get the victory by DQ, so Pillman had to keep wearing the dress. James wins by DQ at 147. I gave it a quarter of a star for the comedy, but next is nothing funny about the next part, as this they get really Attitude Era-esque here, as Pillman gets on the mic and says, "You probably want me gone." Goldust says, "If there's a way, get me sign the papers." Pillman says, "There is a way. You give me one more match, I will leave the WWF forever if you beat me. But if I win, Marlena, or Terry as I know her," as they had a real-life relationship back then, so that was kind of a shoot. He says, "She's my personal assistant 24/7 for the next month." Goldust says, "You're crazy," but Pillman says, "Your daughter Dakota, she's mine. She's my love child." Goldust ran after him, and Marlena then said, "We'll take your stipulation." Goldust is mad at Marlena because he doesn't want to risk giving her to Pillman, but she agrees, and then they ended up agreeing to the match between Goldust and Pillman for Terry's services or Pillman's out of the WWF. Pyros go as hour 2 hits. Patriot takes on Vader, but the Hitman comes out with his title and flag, Canadian flag. The Patriot ducked a charge and grabbed Vader's legs and dragged him groin first into the ring post. Vader came back with some offensive bear clap, dropping the elbow into the leg. Vader roughing the Patriot up. Vader goes up top, and Del Wilkes gets his knees up to block the Vader bomb. The Patriot trying to get back into it, DDTs Vader. The Patriot then hits the Uncle Slam. I'm serious, it's called the Uncle Slam, and he gets the win at 4:55. I gave it a star and 3/4. After the match, Vader brutalized the Patriot as Brett inches closer and closer to the ring. Vader then breaks the Canadian flag, so Brett and Vader go at it. The fans cheer. Then Bulldog and Owen come out, and the Hart Foundation beat on Vader until the Patriot saves the guy he had a match against, the Vader. The Vader? The Vader. Commissioner Slaughter came down with a bunch of officials to break it up. Then Stone Cold does his interview with JR. He says Owen has hell to pay, and now he's pissed off. Austin goes on to say that this is a work shoot if there ever was one. I can't quote it, but you have to see the real emotion in Austin here over what happened. Just the interview, you can see how mad he is, how hot the star was rising, and then just to get a career-ending injury almost. This promo was therapy for him to vent, I'm guessing, because he really looked serious in everything he said. You just have to watch it to really get that serious vibe. Next up, we have the main event, Undertaker and Mankind versus Shawn Michaels and Hunter Hearst Helmsley with Rick Rude and Chyna in a tag match. Ross questions how all these egos are going to coexist, especially Mankind and Taker, who had been feuding for a year at the time, and then they'd feud for another year after. Michaels tells some fans to suck it on the apron with the crotch chop and all that before it was even there. Before that was even a thing. Mankind hammers both Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Michaels, who comes in trying to rough him up. After a commercial, Helmsley falls into the mandible claw, but Chyna behind the official back pulls Mankind groin first into the corner. HBK knocks Mankind out of the ring, and Triple H throws him into the steps. Mankind reversed the super kick attempt into the mandible claw. Helmsley went for the pedigree, but Mankind flipped him over and tagged in Taker, who clotheslined Triple H. Taker drops HBK into the guardrail. Taker lifted up HBK, and Rude was going to hit him with the chair, but Undertaker turned around and slowly stalked Rude. HBK comes in after a chokeslam to Hunter and hits Taker in the head with the chair, busting him open. In the end, Mankind and Undertaker win by DQ at 12:18 after a fun little ride of a match. I gave the main event 2 stars and 3/4 as HBK hit Taker again with the chair, and he's a bloody mess inside the ring. You can see the chair is dented and it's got blood all over it from the Undertaker. They end the show by saying he's got hell to pay at Ground Zero as Taker's a bloody mess, and Shawn Michaels and Triple H go to the back. Overall, I give this episode, quality rating wise, I give this 6.5 out of 10. This show was historically important as it had featured The Rock's promo in the Nation of Domination after the booze from 96-97. It also was the first time Hunter Hearst Helmsley and HBK teamed up or showed any union of some sort. Patriot and Brett continued their build as Austin's interview about his injury and Pillman Goldust stuff was pushing the envelope material. The Attitude Era was still in its genesis here, and we saw why each and every week that passes by. Thank you for enjoying these Raw reviews. Hit like and subscribe if you do. I'm Brett Mix, and I'll see you next week on the Raw Review. I'm out.